All right. Ready when you are?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Blount, what motivated you to apply for the provisional appointment to the Board of Trustees? And how does your background, training, and experience prepare you for this position?
Well, to add to my voluminous application of why I wanted it, does it seem to turn on?
It should be on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just speak
Just have
closer.
it,
Thank
okay.
you.
A couple of things I thought, 7 pages, that's enough. I hope that's enough, but a couple of things is being able to be involved in a greater sense, because and used to doing it for 13 years, and when the Cypress School District, we had assigned 2 schools of the 6 when I came on board, and then we rotated, but we all went to all the events at all the schools, whether it was a play or a carnival or whatever. And then with the community college district, I spend most of my time at Fullerton College, and my time at Cypress College is usually with statewide events that are hosted by Cypress College or the Cypress College Foundation, which we meet once a month, and gave out in May $500,000 in scholarships and another $100,000 in emergency aid. And the other thing is, I love to validate people's important events in their lives. Whether the parents say, well, Doug is having a piano recital. Would you like to come? Sure, I'll be there. Bob is in a Pony League playoff game. And, I don't try to surprise anybody, because I went to this playoff game and they rescheduled the playoff game for the next day. But anyway, that's how I operate. Whether it's somebody's in a parade and, they tell me about it, I'm there, and on and on and on. So that's part of my life, because I was a well-behaved, I was an infant that didn't cry. I was an elementary school age child. I looked people in the eyes, straight in the eyes, and had a firm handshake. And then when my father was meeting with academic people of the highest order, or inventors, or those that have money, he brought me along, because I didn't fidget. I didn't bring my own amusements. And I was generally interested in what these important people were saying. So he was in public relations for 52 years for his nonprofit that he was a vice president. So it's just kind of like, I got to be with people and see their happy faces, and encourage them by just my presence. Then of course my accounting background and my bankruptcy consulting practice, and controller of a very successful manufacturer, and then division controller of a very successful conglomerate. And then the other side is, this is in my written part, I said, you've got programs that community college doesn't have, and they're as good as those programs they do have, or better. And my MBA is in entrepreneurship with a concentration in economics. So it's like, I like ideas, and a couple of my references said, that I'm an expert idea generator. That's because I'm involved in so much, and I visit and talk to people, and I go to events, and I read 4 newspapers a day, and I got a library of over 3,500 books, and I've got another 7 in my car that I just picked up last Saturday. So that's the sum total. And, and then also the part where for 13 years of closed session, I've been confronted and had to deal with every issue, challenge, legal matter imaginable. So I think I'm well prepared. And then a personal note, I 2 blocks from Lexington, 2 blocks from Oxford. My wife graduated from Kennedy, and my kids and my younger brother-in-law graduated from Cyprus. And so it's like, why not? You know? And you only meet once a month, not twice a month. And you have dinner in the middle, you know, where dinner's supposed to be. And North Orange, they have dinner after their open session, and being diabetic, I'm not supposed to eat after 8 o'clock, and it's bad health from lunch to 8:30 at night to kids. Yeah, so in a personal and a professional way, I'm well suited for being part of your board.
As a time check, we are approaching halfway, and we do still have 4 more questions.
Okay.
All right. Can you please describe the characteristics of an outstanding Board of Trustees collectively as a whole, and what you consider the primary responsibilities of an individual member?
Well, it's, some people like participatory governance, others like shared governance. It's being involved in everything and being regarding other people highly. And, you know, with North Orange, they talk about not getting into the weeds. Well, we get into the weeds, and I wonder if they know what they're doing. But that's a sign of, you know, support people. You know, and we differ quite a bit, but another rule of thumb is once you vote and you pass something, you support each other. And again, I've got 13 years of experience of validating fellow board members and those that work with the details and the weeds and you know, keep things running and enthuse and students.
Number 3, please describe your drivers for public education. What is its purpose and what should it look like?
Well, the holistic approach, which is being embraced now, is prepare them for life. And that, when I was a student at Cypress College and all through my education, I had a charmed life. Never did anything regarding the curriculum and got B's pluses because of that, but I wowed the teachers, and the teachers were involved with me. And the teachers should be involved with their students wherever they come from. And that's another thing I like about the district, or high school district. You have to teach every person from age 12 to 18. It's not who you recruit, who you are attractive, or who wanders into your campus. And elementary, there's great gains there, but they don't really have an idea of specifically what they want to do. But they just know that they're good and they're confident. That's the key, be confident. And so as long as you can instill the confidence in them, they go far, you know, because I have my son and his friends, they can change jobs every few months because the person looking at them sees it in their eyes and their countenance, and when they say they can do something, the person hiring believes it. And that's what we need to cultivate in education, wherever it is. I mean, wherever it is and whoever it is, because when I was in second grade in Arkansas, they were ahead of California. When I was a junior in Illinois, it was a year ahead of California. So it's everybody, and coaches. I had some outstanding coaches in cross country and wrestling. So it's just the whole child, and the more you know about a child, and more a child or student identifies with you, the better.
Thank you.
Number 4, please describe your previous involvement with the Anaheim Union High School District and the number of years of such involvement.
Well, since my wife and her family moved into Cyprus in 1966 and graduated from Kennedy, I pretty much instantly, when I married her in '72, was involved in the district. Then my kids went to Lexington, and as I've mentioned before, my son Jason took speech from Anna Percy, and so that, because then she went on to be in the city council and being a person that circulates, goes to everything. I was always running into her, so yeah, by her, I was involved in the district too. Then my kids, you know, and my brother-in-law was the first class that went completely through Cypress High School, the only one that went all, I think it was 3 years at that time. So, yeah, and then I follow baseball and Cypress, know everything about Cypress baseball, and of course that's, you know, my involvement there. And yeah, and well, I just came from a Chamber of Commerce breakfast, Cypress Chamber of Commerce breakfast this morning, so it's just total involvement in everything, all civic and education, business-wise, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we're approaching our last question. Is there anything else you would like to share that will help us make our decision?
I'm glad you asked. There was another thing I thought, no, 7 pages is too long. But it's how I understand people and where they're coming from. My father's crowning achievement was the director of international students at the University of Oklahoma. And I shadowed him there, and he had to keep the national Chinese and the native Formosans apart. It's like, who knew? You know, but that's who they are, that's where they're coming from, and you need to support both of them. And then they had to keep the pro-Shah and anti-Shah of Persia, Iran, apart. And he had to, with his best friend in the Dean of Students office, he monitored the weathermen and the Students for a Democratic Society, which in the 60s were militant and violent. They bombed, well, the SDS, yeah, and the weathermen bombed various locales. And his first his job description was any need that an international student has, you need to take care of it. So his first project was to find shoes for a man from India, and he said, oh, that's simple. He says, but sir, I have 6 toes in each foot. Oh, no problem, we'll take care of that. And then he validates the Muslim faith in that when there's a death in the Muslim community, there's no cutting on the body, there's no autopsy, and within 48 hours, they have to be buried in their homeland. And it's not like, you know, this is Oklahoma in the 1960s. We don't do things like that. And no, he made sure that they were validated. And then he was a consummate linguist and cultural anthropologist with New Mexico and Arizona, and also through the United States and Canada. And so I was exposed to those individuals and their religious beliefs and their traditions and their way of doing life, you know, and their reverence for dogs and horses, and their hogans face east because the sun comes up in the east, and they have their holy mountain, which my father was the first and probably the only one that was given permission to go on that. And so, you know, that was one thing. And my mother's father was a rich land developer and bought her a mansion in the area where those that made their fortune lived close to where they made their fortune. So we were about 300 feet or 250 feet from the rail yard. And all the other mansions along there were on a nice paved sidewalk street, but ours faced a dirt road, the tail end of Arbor Street.
Mr. Blount, just so you know, 30 seconds left.
Okay, so they discovered natural gas and uranium. And so it was, the rail yard was always full of boxcars and flat cars and all that. One day it cleared. And I looked at it and said, oh, I was 4 years old, but somehow I had heard the phrase, you come from the other side of the tracks, or the other side of the tracks. And I looked at this shanty town. And it was so bad that we, 2 months later, we'd adopted a child from that shanty town. And at 6 years old, she already had some form of VD. And it's like, you know, the tragedy of the human life that you got to be involved in. You should be involved.
Well, that concludes our questions, Mr. Blount, in the interview. Thank you so much for coming.
You're
and
welcome.
applying.
It's my
We appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank you.
Now I go to the other board meeting, and hopefully that's the last one. And I attend, and I'm looking forward to spending many hours this Thursday with you.
All righty, thank you.
Oh, one other thing. When I was with the Cypress School District, they gave me a rubber stamp with my signature on it, and I've never used it, and I never will.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the evening. So we appreciate your interest in serving on the Board of Trustees for the Anaheim Union High School District for Trustee Area 5, and we thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. Although your candidate statement provides an overview of your background and experience, it is helpful to have this time to speak to you personally. We have 5 questions and a timer for 15 minutes, and I will begin. So what motivated you to apply for the provisional appointment to the Board of Trustees, and how does your background, training, and experience prepare you for this position?
Well, I've been dedicated to education for the past 42 years of my life, and my desire is for students to feel connected, especially after the pandemic. I've noticed a need for students to have something in their schools to feel connected to. And I believe in the vision of the district and what they're doing, looking at the whole child. And I think you see that through the work that we're doing with the 5 C's, the pledge, AIM, dual enrollment, the career preparedness systems framework. That's what makes our district a national model. And I'm really proud of the work that we've been doing. As a longtime resident of Cypress, along with my work as an educator, I just really feel that kids deserve a high quality education. And I really do feel that I think one of the questions that needs to be answered is education working for you? Are you working for education? I ask that question a lot when I visit schools. And I like to see more of the work that we're doing, and to more importantly, let the students know of the opportunities that we provide for them. We provide so many opportunities for the students, even their participation in LCAP. And I think about half of the students in our district participated in that, but I just feel that we need more participation from our students. I think in the presentation last week, they talked about street data, so I'd like to work more closely with students and parents to get that data and to see what the real needs are.
Thank you. The second question, can you please describe the characteristics of an outstanding Board of Trustees as a collective whole, and what you consider the primary responsibilities of an individual member?
I think a Board of Trustees person is a public servant, and we're here to serve our communities. And, you know, I think in this case, it's Area 5, and I'm really familiar with that that part of the district. Being a resident and a business owner in Cypress, I do know, and I've also worked at 2 schools within the district, within that area. So I'm very familiar with Area 5, but my work with the other, with other schools, I've been at 12 other school sites that I've worked at, I think it provides me an opportunity to see the district as a whole. Like not just that area, but the other 4 areas included. I think a school board member, a good school board member, they ensure that kids have a high quality education. Okay, and that includes our EL students and our students with disabilities. And I really am proud. I served on an LCAP committee, and I was able to see, that those 2 student groups were really represented as far as the funding was concerned with LCAP. I think we need to provide safe learning environments for our students. I think that's really important for students not to only have comprehensive security measures, but also just like counseling services and promoting a culture of respect amongst the staff and the students. And thirdly, I think board members need to be fiscally responsible. They would need to be meeting with this superintendent and the assistant stoop in charge of business to make informed decisions about budgeting, spending, and saving to maintain financial stability while minimizing wasteful spending.
Okay, please describe your Drivers for Public Education. What is its purpose and what should it look like?
My drivers for public education would be, one of them is student voice with purpose. I think students have all the answers if we really spend the time to get to know them, and they can help us make informed decisions. I think parents too. I think they talked about from the LCAP last week about street data. I think we need to do a little bit more of that and go into our schools, spend time with our families. My drivers are, again, it's not teaching to the test, it's really educating to the whole child. Like I said, I think the things that we are doing, the Career Preparedness Systems Framework, the AIM program, ROP, our partnerships with those things, and student voice with purpose, the ambassadors is a really good example of that. We have ambassadors at all of our high school sites, including CVA, Hope, and Gilbert, and they in turn bring issues that we need to talk about to the district and vice versa. And we hope to expand that by our students working with ASB and their leadership and being able to articulate those needs to the district.
Okay. Please describe your previous involvement with the Anaheim Union High School District and the number of years of such involvement.
Next year will mark my 40th year as a part of the district. I started in 1985 and went to Oxford Academy. I started actually in 1985 as a teacher at Cypress High School and Kennedy High School. I had a split assignment, and then I went over, I stayed at Kennedy and built a choir program over there, and left in 1999 to start music and activities at Oxford Academy. And then from there, I became, from 1999 to 2006, I was a teacher there. And from 2006 to 2017, I was an administrator. And from that point on, 2017 to now, I work as an advisor for the ambassador program.
Okay, thank you.
All right. This is your last question. Is there anything else you would like to share that will help us make our decision?
I just got done telling you about my journey as a teacher, as an activities director, as an administrator, and now consultant. And I think that this district has really enabled me to grow in each step of the way in my leadership capabilities. And I really want that for anybody, like if it's a parent or a teacher, but I want people to know the opportunities that this district has afforded me. I mean, I think my story, starting out as a teacher and now as a retiree, I don't feel like it's work now to do what I'm doing. And I think I've really helped with enabling the student voice to be amplified, which I'm a strong believer in. And I really want people to see, again, the opportunities in this district because we're doing such great work. And I don't know, but I don't know if people, I think we have to go beyond emails and just posters and things. I think we need to really start connecting with our families in a meaningful way. And that is just really by talking to them, by being more visible. I think one thing that you guys will know about me is that I am driven by what I think is best for kids, but I don't just do a job, but I do it wholeheartedly. And I think that's what you'll get out of me. One other thing, as a retiree, I do have the time to spend at schools, at school events, at meetings, any kind of thing, that the district needs. I feel I have that flexibility.
All right. Thank you very much. This concludes the interview questions, and we really appreciate you applying and taking the time here today to interview.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the evening. And we appreciate your interest in serving on the Board of Trustees of the Anaheim Union High School District for Trustee Area 5. And we thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. And although your candidate statement provides an overview of your background and experience, it's helpful to have this time to speak to you personally.
Okay.
So there are 5 questions, and we have a 15-minute timer, okay? And I will begin. So what motivated you to apply for the provisional appointment to the Board of Trustees, and how does your background, training, and experience prepare you for this position?
What drove me was, first I got the text, and then I was like, that's interesting. I have kids in school, and that was one of my, main interests because of my kids are in school, and, there's a lot of things going on with education today, and, it was my opportunity to get, more involved in what's going on. And I, hopefully bring in, like a perspective, a parent, and, the things that we think the kids need to, some of the inputs are make the schools better for the children, that's really important to me.
Okay, thank you.
All right, question number 2. Can you please describe the characteristics of an outstanding Board of Trustees collectively as a whole, and what you consider the primary responsibilities of an individual member?
What do I think the prospect, could you repeat that? Of
Yes,
a
I
board
can.
member?
So it's kind of like 2 parts. So if you can please first describe the characteristics of an outstanding Board of Trustees collectively as a whole, and then what you consider the primary responsibilities of an individual member.
So, yeah, it's like 2 questions. I'm throwing them all together. I'm sorry. I think the primary part would be someone that is good in the community, that, is very involved, someone that cares about school and what's going on in and around the schools. Things that involve children, like activities for the kids, something positive, and people that I think a positive role model also to, the kids, something that brings something to the table that, that helps the children in school. That's what I think, just positive.
Please describe your drivers for public education. What is its purpose, and what should it look like?
The driver?
The drivers for public education.
Okay. Well, I at first, before getting involved with public education, I had my children in private school. And so after like a few years, I think it's been like 10 years or so, when they were, with going into public school, I was not really that involved, in it. And then I see that there is, the driver is someone that can really, I say focus on, the kindness, being, I just think that the driving for education takes a lot of people working together and being involved. I think we need a lot more, people involved in the driver as far as education. To me, I think, it lacks a lot of participation from parents.
Please describe your previous involvement in the Anaheim Union High School District and the number of years of such involvement.
In the Anaheim School District, the school district, my involvement is, just, being a parent, being involved, and, I actually stay on my kids about education. I push it. Maybe push it too hard, but I definitely push the education part and just being involved. I reach out to the community in all kind of ways. Like I love the drive from the boys and girls when they come to the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. I participate when I always contribute. I always donate. I always buy. And that means a lot, because I remember as being a campfire girl how important that was to be in the community, to stand out and sell cookies and all those things when it comes to the holidays, and volunteering to just in the community. We would go to the convalescent homes and sing. So all that is so important when growing up as kids, and that just motivates me. I just buy cookies even when I don't eat them, give them out. It's just, all around the community is important to me. Anaheim in school, because kids sell cookies in school too. So I have my kids say, hey, they're selling cookies. Can we buy some? I'm like, sure. Let's get some cookies, So, that kind of involvement and going to the games is important too, participating throughout the school.
Thank you.
All right, we're at our last question. Is there anything else you would like to share that will help us make our decision?
That's a hard question, but I can answer no, I'm sorry. know I have anything else that I can share.
Okay. We appreciate your time today, and we appreciate you applying.
All right.
And we wish you well, and
Thank
have a
you
good
all.
evening.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.